Hello out there in TV land. That's how my family was used to start our family videos. So since you guys are also my family, thought I would start out our online lesson that way. So I hope that all of you are doing well. I know that this is all new stuff and we're going through things that seem overwhelming right now, and it can kind of be difficult to know where to get started. So that's why last week's lessons, I really wanted to focus on empowerment. So that way, at this time when things are kind of turned upside down and you don't really know what's going on, each day it seems like something new, that you might have the tools that you need to not feel so powerless in certain situations and to be empowered so that way you can get your work done, do things that you need to around your house, and just kind of get through these days that have been kind of difficult. I know that I've been posting everything like pretty much on Renweb, but I've also been emailing you, so we'll continue with that. I haven't heard from some of you, so I'm hoping that by having this recording and then also hosting an online Zoom class during class times that I'll communicate via email will help to get you guys to be able to be a little bit more engaged and have it feel a little more normal for us. So if there's anything that I can do to help you get your work done, especially for my class, but for any of the classes, if you need me to talk to any of the teachers and see if you guys can work out a plan among yourselves, just let me know, because I love helping you guys, right? So that's been one of the difficult things for me, is that with this transition from working with you guys every day to being stuck at home, I found it really hard because I really love seeing you guys in person. And I've said it a million times in class, my favorite thing is to help people and to help you guys. So it's hard for me because I'm like, am I still helping them? I'm giving them stuff that I think is helping them and, I find helpful, but it's hard for me to know if I'm not hearing from you guys and if I don't know what's going on with you and I don't have that really added connection with you guys of being able to be in person. So I've found it a little hard for me to motivate myself to get my work done, because I'm like, what's my work for? If I'm not helping people, which has always been my main motivation, what's going on? How do I motivate myself to keep going with everything that I need to do? So that's why I figured if I, as an adult, am having a little bit of trouble motivating myself these days, where it seems like everything's just crazy, or like each day you're like, oh, another day I'm at my house. If I'm having trouble with that kind of stuff as an adult, I would think that you guys would be having trouble with it too. So today we're going to talk about motivation, and we're going to talk about what motivates people in general, but then also go through and show you some tips to help you motivate yourself as you work from home, because I know it can be really difficult. So with that being said, I am going to share my screen with you guys, because we're going to go through a little bit of PowerPoint presentation, and I'll go through it with you so that way we'll all be on the same page with everything. So I'm going to be trying to do PowerPoints moving forward, so that way you guys have a visual to go along with what we talk about. A lot of our class in the previous time has been discussion based, where we have like worksheets and things like that, but we'll be a little more dependent on the PowerPoints. But as usual, you can always email me your assignments. And the other thing is, if you want to drop them in homework drop, I accept them that way too. Any way that you get your assignment to me, I'm happy with it, just so you know, because we've always done email, so it's not a big transition for me. But if there's another way besides email or homework drop that you want to hand in your assignment, like if you wanted to have a call or like a Zoom meeting where we discussed it together, that's fine with me too, as long as I know that you're able to view what you need for my class and get it done, because we are still being graded for the fourth quarter. So I want to make sure that I can give you a grade and that you're not falling terribly behind. So we're going to get started talking about motivation. So motivation, this is a quote: "Every accomplishment starts with the decision to try." So how do we get that decision to try? What motivates us to make the decision to try? Motivation is the general desire or will to do something. That's its definition. So I talk about my motivation is helping people, right? So the way that I motivate myself is by thinking about how I can help others and how what I do to help others will make the world a better place. People are motivated by many different things. Your motivation may be money. It may be getting your work done so that you can have more free time. It can be anything. So while we're thinking about motivation, I want you to think about a goal that you've accomplished in your past. We set goals at the beginning of this year, and think about what motivated you to accomplish that goal. So we talked about a lot of different goals this year. There was kids who had all different examples. Was your goal to paint your room, to become more fit, choose where you want to go to college? All of us have different motivations for accomplishing those goals. We don't just all approach them the same way. But if we can find what our motivation is, that helps us accomplish the goal. And if we know generally what motivates us, it'll help us to accomplish goals in the future. So, in order to motivate ourselves, one of the things that we need is self-assurance. So we'll go through and talk about each of these, but self-assurance is the confidence in our own abilities or character. We also need high self-efficacy, which we'll go in depth in discussing in a few minutes, and self-confidence. So these are three things that help a general person motivate themselves, and we'll discuss each of them in depth. So self-assurance is confidence in our own abilities or character. So a person who is self-assured is more likely to set challenging goals for themselves and to be resilient if they're faced with setbacks. So this quote by Nelson Mandela: "Do not judge me by my success, judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again." So a person who is self-assured will be likely to, even when faced with setbacks, get back up and try again. Figure out a way to go around the wall, to make a solution to the problem rather than just being like, "Oof, that stinks, I'm all done." And a person who is self-assured, rather than going into a situation or a goal and saying like, "Ugh," when they're faced with a setback, saying, "I knew I couldn't do this." The thing that they'll do instead is they'll take this failure and say, "This was one setback. I know I have what it takes to overcome this obstacle." So there's other elements besides self-assurance that we need in order to motivate ourselves. Dr. Albert Bandura, an American psychologist, introduced the concept of self-efficacy. This is our belief in our own ability to succeed and our own ability to achieve the goals that we set for ourselves. When people have a high self-efficacy, they might view a more difficult goal as a challenge, but still have the confidence that they need to achieve that goal. A person with low self-efficacy could see the same goal and not even try, not even put any effort into it, because they already think that they don't have what it takes to accomplish the goal. So self-efficacy is just this belief that you can succeed, that you do have what it takes to achieve things. Now, we don't all start out with this high self-efficacy, so there's ways that we can increase it. So the ways that we will talk about are enacting mastery, vicarious modeling, verbal persuasion, and emotional stimulation. So enactive mastery is if you have mastered a skill, if you have experience with something in the past, then you're more likely to believe that you're going to be able to do that same thing again. So if I know that I babysat my sister's 4 kids and we all had a good time and everything went okay, I know next Friday that I could potentially do the same thing. Now I'm going to be spending all my time babysitting these kids? No, but I know I could do it because I mastered it last time. The next way that you can increase your self-efficacy is through vicarious modeling. So you might be more confident if you see somebody else doing the same thing, the same goal that you want to achieve, you might think that you can achieve it too. This especially works if you can identify with the person. So if you see somebody who you find similar to you is achieving these goals, you think that you can be able to do it too if you believe in yourself, because you see where your skills are similar. So if they can do it, why can't I do it? Another way is verbal persuasion. So people outside of yourself can influence your self-efficacy as well through this way, because you'll become more confident if somebody else convinces you that you have what it takes. So a teacher, the principal, one of your friends, whoever, encouraging you and saying, you do have the skill, you do have what it takes. They can verbally persuade you to increase your confidence in your ability and increase your self-efficacy, so that way you're willing to approach the goals and put more into it and not be taken down by setbacks that might occur. The 4th way to increase your self-efficacy is through emotional stimulation. You may be excited and energized at the thought of accomplishing this task, so that will also kind of, perpetuate your pursuit of the goal. So even if there's a setback, you'd be like, no, I'm getting back up because I know I can do this. I'm really excited about this. I want to get this done. I want that room painted. I want to get into college, because you might view it as like, this is going to better my life in some way. This is going to make me happy. So I'm getting it done. And this emotional stimulation can also help you see the past reasons that you might not be able to get the task completed. So you can think about it and, kind of examine, okay, these are the reasons I might not have been able to get it done in the past, but I can keep going forward in the future. So if you have a high self-efficacy, as we've discussed, you're more likely to put more effort into achieving your goals and persevere more when you face setbacks. So now we've gone through, we had self-assurance, which is the confidence in your ability or character, and we have self-efficacy, which is our ability to succeed and our ability to achieve our goals that we set for ourselves. Another piece of this puzzle that you'll need is self-confidence. So self-confidence is defined as an attitude of trust in our abilities, in our qualities, and in our judgment. Self-confidence helps us to believe that we can succeed and to recognize successes that we have achieved in the past. This will also allow us to find future success. Now, in our class, on a few occasions, I've asked you to think about your strengths. We talked about how any job interview that you go into, they're going to ask you, what are your strengths? Some of you may be in Mr. Jim's Latin class, so you might recognize this phrase, temet nosce. This is translated as know yourself. The better we know ourselves, the easier it is to maximize our potential and find happiness. You spend more time with yourself than anybody else does, so you have the most experience knowing the things that you're good at and identifying the areas that may require work. It can be difficult to know and recognize your strengths, even if you haven't, especially when you haven't developed your self-confidence. So what we can do is ask ourselves some questions that help us develop our self-confidence. So that way we can recognize our strengths, we can have more faith in our ability to do things and not be self-conscious about accomplishing our goals or going for things. We are more able to like raise our hand and say, I need help, I need this, I need that, because we're confident in ourselves and our abilities. So here are some questions that can help you to be able to recognize your strengths. So this is a long list of questions, and you don't have to answer every single one, but some of them might be really helpful to you. So they basically focus on thinking about the things that you love to do and why you love to do them. What are things that you've accomplished in the past? What do you hope to accomplish this year, in the next 5 years? Do you need help from people? Do you need support? Do you need resources to be able to get done what you want to? And just thinking about your talents, the things that people see in you, the things that you might have been complimented for in the past or you like about yourself, what you're proud of that you've done. And if there's things that just come easy to you, like if you can learn a magic trick in a couple minutes or you can write backwards, whatever. Thinking about the things that you're good at will definitely increase your self-confidence, because as you start to write these things down, you're like, wow, there's a wide variety of things that I'm good at. And for anybody out there who's thinking, I'm not good at anything, I know that's not true because I've had all of you in class. And I know that you're all good at a myriad of different things. So if you need help thinking about stuff, you talk to me and I can tell you 10 good things you're great at. But I prefer that you look within yourself first, because this will really help you exercising your ability to see the strengths in yourself will help you as you continue on in your careers, because as you develop new skills, you guys are all young, as you develop new skills, if you keep doing this exercise and thinking, okay, what are my strengths now this year? Have I added any strengths this year? Have I added any more strengths? You'll see that it continues to happen as you educate yourself more, as you take training, as you build experience. So you'll find that you have a larger variety of strengths in 5 years, in 2 years even, than you would right now. So our assignment for this week is that I want you to answer, there was 10 questions on the last slide. I want you to answer any 5 from the previous slide and send me your answers in an email with the subject line, motivation assignment. Make sure that you include the question that you're answering in your response so that I know what you're responding to, just so that it doesn't get all confusing. All of these contributors to motivation, self-assurance, self-efficacy, self-confidence, are related to motivation in general. But now we have the added complexity of motivating ourselves and being accountable as we work from home. So I also just want to talk about a few tips that might be helpful to develop your motivation as you continue to work from home. So 1, make a workplace for yourself. It can be harder to motivate yourself to do your work if you stay in your bed or you're in an area of your home that has a lot of distractions. So try to find a spot that offers some separation from those distractions. This might require you to spend like part of your day in one place and part of your day in another, based on where the people in your house are. But designating an area where you can have like a quiet and a calmness, and separating it from being in your bed, because that's just a place where you're supposed to sleep, relax, whatever. You want to be able to have like a workspace, a designated workspace, where you're not just gonna like be like, oh, I'm gonna roll over and fall asleep now because this is boring and I don't feel like doing it. That's not how we're going to motivate ourselves. So finding that separation and that designated area for you to work should help you with that. The other thing you want to do, create a regular routine. There's a reason that there's 8 class periods in a day that we all go to every 45 minutes. It's because routine helps us to develop, helps us to have a sense of calm and get more things done in our day. So this will help you as you're working from home as well. So you want to make sure that you have a set time where you check your emails, look on the class resources page for your assignments, complete assignments, eat, like take your regular breaks, designate a time where you get dressed in the day. Maybe you like work for a little bit in the morning and then have like, okay, it's 9 now, I'm gonna get dressed, I'm gonna go downstairs now, whatever. If you have to develop your own routine, but you want to have designated times so that way you're making sure that you at least once a day are doing the things that you need to. So make sure that you take regular breaks. It could be, 20 minutes, I'm going to have my Netflix break now and watch an episode of a show. This is important because, especially since there's so much change and we're all under a lot of strain, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself some downtime. And it's important to balance this downtime with your school time so that way you won't have as much stress. The third thing you want to do is eliminate distractions. It's especially easy to get distracted while you're working from home and no one's watching you because you don't have as much accountability. You might have different thoughts or questions unrelated to your schoolwork that pop into your head and you're like, oh, I need to Google this now because I have to know. And then you find yourself 20 minutes later on, like down some rabbit hole of like, oh, what was Elvis's daughter's name? And what year did he sing this? And you're like, how did I lose 20 minutes doing this? So keep in mind that you want to try to eliminate that kind of distraction. Social media, we love. It can be a great resource for some laughs, but you want to make sure that you're also not getting distracted by it, okay? So here again is the assignment, answering 5 questions by April 17th. Send them to me. I'll email this out as well. I loved getting to talk to you guys. I hope that you have a great day and enjoy your time.